All right, so if you've been following along, just over a month ago, decided to rip down all this old insulation out of the basement. It was super gross. Wanted to go ahead and replace it with rigid foam since the kids had been playing down there. And then, I don't know, maybe a week had passed and I couldn't handle it. I was like, all right, let's just tackle this. So a couple days before Thanksgiving, just decided that we'll try to frame it out, get it insulated, and see if we can get it drywall before Christmas. Ended up getting COVID, so didn't finish it quite before Christmas, but here's the transformation over the last 45 days or so of our basement. Well, day after Thanksgiving, time to frame the basement, huh? Yep, get it all framed up. We got a lot of work to do in these bulkheads. Get this wall set up below, whole bulkhead around all these pipes, all this.
Hello.
And get this whole wall framed out. Put a couple of double interior French doors here. So let's just watch this progress. Yeah, this is probably the easiest wall out of all of them that we had to frame. Wasn't much to contend with. And sadly, you know, those 14 studs were probably the least time consuming out of this entire project. Just a lot of bulkhead work. You know, the foundation was out of square, so it was just a little bitty adjustments at the beginning to make sure that the rest of the work would be a lot easier when it was all said and done. My dad was a champ. He helped me for 3 days after Thanksgiving, and then on the fourth day I came down with COVID, so progress slowed down just a little bit. So since these walls can't go all the way to the ceiling and anchor to the floor joist, you have to attach pressure treated studs to the block, then add an extra stud to that to make it come out far enough, and then you just plumb them up, and they're nice and solid. So as you can see, there's just a ton to have to bulkhead around. This won't have to stick out too far, but probably about a 2x4 width outside this other wall. And then this just took a lot of head scratching, a lot of figuring, you know, to work it around these beams. Again, drop it down for all the freaking duct work. I think we're gonna do just a small bulkhead right here. Just go the whole length though, just so it looks right, and then box this down. And then this is all fire blocked already because I knew it'd be a pain in the butt to get back up there. But you can see the floor actually came up about an inch. Like this concrete is about an inch high, so you can kind of see up here. It's at an angle, but once we will bulkhead that little bit, and you won't see it anymore. And we actually had one wall with no bulkheads out of the whole thing so far. So pulled down this old wall that was here on the stairs, and it's a non-load bearing, but basically I'm going to frame it back up, but I'll about right here I'm gonna remove those studs, and I'll put a little header in it, and then put about a 1 foot, maybe about an 8-inch column to separate the back half, so that I'll custom make 2 closet doors so that we have storage underneath the stairs. And then we'll wrap it up around here. We'll end up terminating the finished area right in here with a double French door. So I'll keep on going. I'll give you some time lapse of the bulkheads. Well, here we are a week later. My dad and I spent 3 days right after Thanksgiving knocking out everything you'll see so far. This was the only wall that I had up, and my wife insisted on this door, which she was right. I'm glad we put it here. It'll be easier for her to get beers when I ask. Anyhow, I kid. It'll be a good addition. And we spent a lot of time on these bulkheads, just trying to figure out how to keep it all sealed off. Ended up just running a 2x8 back there behind it. I have to box this one out still, but we made a pretty clean job of it. Now, what I've been working on right now are these framing around these posts. I've seen guys on YouTube, and you know, my dad and I have seen people do this in the past, where they just slap a 2x6 and like drive nails straight into that post. But I prefer to make it strong. That way I also have the option, I can maybe put an outlet box and the bottom of it, it's the same width as the bulkhead, so it will look a lot cleaner. Again, under here is where I'm gonna have the storage. I've got to move 2 outlets, this one here and that one up top, move it to the other side of that stud, and I'm gonna put a wall right there to finish off this area. So I'm gonna finish this this box around this pole. I'm gonna frame up this wall where the French door will go, and I will frame up this last wall over to the slider. I don't think I'm gonna frame the rest of it. I don't know, at least not right now, and not for the purpose of the permits. So let's watch this and be back in a minute. Just remember, whenever you make these little add-on walls, it's easy to get them out of square, so just use your framing square, make sure they're nice and 90 degrees. Your drywall guys, or if you're going to drywall it yourself, you'll appreciate that when it's all said and done. Plus, you don't want it to look all janky. And then just make sure you add nailers in between so you can catch your drywall seams. Now, I'm sure you could have done that different, but it's not even a 2-foot wall. It's like 19 inches. No, it's 20 inches. But the point was just to have it even here along that wall, even along the bulkhead. I got myself a nailer, and again, I'm sure you could have done this wall different, but you had to have enough meat to get your drywall to catch that corner. And it would have been a lot more work for the drywall guys just to have another notch here in 2 different corners. So I think between the two, between that one and that one, they look pretty uniform. That one happens to be out about a ½ inch further than this one, but at the end of the day, I don't care too much. I'm gonna figure out my outlets. So that corner's done, all the nailers. I'm gonna go ahead and move this electrical to the other side of this stud, because all those wires are really loose, they put in. And then I'm gonna frame my last inside wall here in the closet. It's so much ghetto ass shit in this house. I don't even know, I've never seen a yellow box. I don't even know if that's like to today's code or not. And I know I should probably disconnect the power, blah blah blah, but the box is pretty well closed up. But they had a 240 here. I think this guy had woodworking tools or something in here. But I mean, they just like, it's just like hanging over the ductwork. There's no staple, so all of this is probably going to come out. But because this is one of the only working outlets in the entire basement, probably just to get them to code, I'm going to leave it for the time being. And then I'm going to put my wall, you know, just in front of this sump pump housing, and there'll be enough room to get in from the other side, on the storage side. So I'll frame a short wall here up to the top here, figure out my measurements. I almost screwed up, put this wall together, and then I realized, oh man, I don't know if I'm gonna have enough room to get it in there, but it squeezed in. My measurements were good, and we were able to move on to the next thing. All right, well, a couple shots of Dayquil later, and only one trip to Home Depot. Got that jam tidied up, got this wall in, all the bases cut out, and the base cut out on that door. This is what took half the afternoon, man. It kind of looks, I don't know, kind of looks amateur hourish, but it was a really hard one to figure out because I've got to have an access panel here. Well, I gotta have this access panel, but I gotta be able to reach up in there and get that that hose shut off. I gotta be able to access that. I think I'll be able to access that fitting right there. So I'll put a 14 by 14 hatch there, and it should work. Underneath is got nailers. That's all enclosed. Okay, I just got to get my electrical boxes in, and we're ready for drywall. So we got all of my electrical boxes bonded around the whole thing. I've actually got 2 circuits, 2 different circuits running around the perimeter, and then 1 lighting circuit. So I got all of my recessed lights in place. I was on an existing circuit, so hopefully the inspector didn't give me a hard time about that. Was able to put in a 4-way switch for all the storage, and repurposed all those lights again on the original circuit back here. So I'll have nice good light back here in all those areas. So again, you know, this wall essentially from the entrance will be finished, and then with a double door there going into the finished area. Put one of those drop-down Murphy beds in here to make it a nice, a nice spare bedroom, if you would. And then we'll have a couch and everything goes around that side. So the big deal was just getting all these boxes in, call for a permit. They're going to inspect tomorrow, and as long as that goes well, I will throw up insulation between the next 2 evenings. This wall should be good, but I'll need to put R13 in between all of these studs here and then up the other cavities, because that's only R10. I think it's 2-inch R10 up there in the rim joist cavities. So I figure I can do that in 2 evenings. I've already called for the insulation inspection on Friday, so hopefully I don't have any major hiccups. The big thing was like putting in fire block and draft prevention every 10 feet. So we got to seal it from floor to ceiling every 10 feet. And then of course you got a fire block all up underneath there, which is a combination of foam and drywall, make sure it's all sealed up. But those are the big sticklers. Even had to seal the cavity on the bulkhead. I think they require me to seal that. So anyhow, I sealed that one up. This one is actually a big T, so I don't know what the deal is there. If anything gets failed, I have a feeling it's going to be that bulkhead. It might somehow make me seal the stupid thing, which I have no idea how I'm going to do, because there's just so many nooks and crannies up here. All right, so wish me luck with the inspector. All right, man, it was a good day. Inspector came. Had 2 things. He actually failed me, but they're easy fixes. Fire stop, vertical fire stop. One on that pole and then one on the other. So I just got to foam that, and good to go. So he gave me the okay to go ahead and insulate. So it took me about 2 hours to get 3 packs of insulation up on the walls. I think the key to that is just like setting up a jig. But basically you just get your measurements, your vertical measurements, then measure from the wall. I just use a piece of plywood and then mark it with a the Sharpie. And then let's say you pull it 93-inch or 92-inch baffle, whatever it is. You just adjust this from the wall that many inches, and then you've got a pattern. So you can just quickly cut them, and then was able to use all the leftovers up in the top above the pipes and everything. I got a few spots that I'll use leftovers from the ceiling, and I'll be done. So got drywall lined up for a few days from now. So I've got a day to finish the ceiling, actually two evenings before they come and inspect pre-drywall. So I should be able to get all that done. And I'm using this R19. It was only a few dollars more expensive than the R13 and a lot cheaper than the sound insulation. So I'm just gonna cut those to length, run them up here in the floor joists, and that should really make this a pretty soundproof room. So when the kids are watching TV or when we're watching TV, you can't hear it throughout the house. And hopefully when our guests are here, they don't hear the kitchen so much. All right, stay tuned. That's the next to drywall. You can chalk up insulation as my second least favorite trade. This stuff is just nasty, gets everywhere. Use a good respirator and you'll be all right. But stuck the R19 up there in the ceilings, and actually ended up going back and getting another couple rolls and insulated that back wall there. So one thing I forgot to mention, when they built this house, they did a freaking horrible job on many things, but particularly they put the bathroom rough in right smack in the middle of this entire room. So I can't use it. It's in the way. The vent was like halfway covered by the walls. The door alarm's going off. But anyhow, I just had to grind these down. All this concrete was up real high. I used a like a vacuum attachment for this grinder. It didn't quite fit, but it worked. I electrical taped it together, and then I sawzalled out the lip of this cavity. I'm gonna go fill it with about 4 buckets of gravel and then I'm gonna put about 6 inches of concrete. And then in here, I took one of these floaty tubes and just cut a little piece and shoved them down in there in case I ever do decide, or somebody else wants to do it. It ain't gonna be me. When I'm dead and gone, they can dig this up and reuse this if they want. But it was just a horrible design. They put it right smack in the middle of that room. So by the time you framed out walls, you'd have no space in here. Anyway, all right, on to the next thing. Okay, lots of progress. Got the drywall up, got all the paint done. Everything's cut in, lighting circuits are done. I'm working on the trim. This has turned out to be a pain in the ass. Made a couple bad cuts, so I ran out of trim. It's drying right now in the other garage. But basically, I'm trimming out the whole base so that I can get carpet in a couple of days. And right now, I'm working on the crown molding. So 2 things in order. So I'm doing crown molding with LED behind it, so it'll be dropped down about, I don't know, 1.5 inches, something like that. Enough just for me to get my fingers inside. In order to do that, 2 things. Paint, white down to about, 4 inches or so. That way the light reflects uniformly. It also saves you time on the initial painting. But what I'm doing is I have a jig, and I'm going to use a piece of 2x4. Actually, I have 2x4s I got to rip. But this will essentially sit flat up against the wall. I'll show you. It'll sit flat up against the wall, so you can see I've got my marks on here. I'll end up chalk lining that, but then I'll have this 2x material back here, so I got a nice solid nailer to keep all of my crown very uniform, and then it also will let me set the LED strips right on top, and then it will reflect up to the ceiling. So the next thing I got to do is I got to rip a bunch of 2x material to go the whole way around. And it really it can't just be like blocks of it, because if the LED strip dips down, then it will, you'll see it. You'll see if there's a difference in the lighting. I guess the one thing I might think about doing is just sticking the LED to the back side of this and have it shine that way instead of upwards. Maybe I'll actually do that. That way I don't have to do solid 2x's the whole way. I can just do sections. I gotta think about that. So anyhow, that's the plan. I'm gonna go all the way around. I'm gonna have a couple funky corners, but if you don't have one of these freaking angle finders, because even though your walls should be 90, by the time you do your drywall, your mud, a lot of the corners turn out to be like 88 degrees, something like that. So in order to get nice clean miters, that's what you need to do. All right, we'll be back in a few and see how many cuss words I drop here. All right, well, it took freaking way. I hate crown molding with a passion, but was able to get my jigs made. I haven't filled in any of my nail holes, and I've got a couple of joints that weren't the best. Nothing a little caulk can't hide. So anyhow, these are like these they're called Govee, Govee LED strips, and they got 3M on the back of them. It's actually pretty easy to install those. Behind this wall, in order to do this, you got to have some power. So I knew I was doing this behind this wall. I got an outlet, and then I just had to punch a small, 3/8 inch hole through, so the power lead can get all the way through. And you can kind of see up here in this corner that I got the actual controller for it. So it's power, and then this changes the colors. There's all sorts of different colors. But anyhow, and then it also has a thing where it adjusts to music, voice, or sound. So, I mean, it's, I don't know, the kids will have fun with it. A couple of these, it's weird. It's weird how it works. I don't know. They all don't light up. I guess it's I don't know. Anyhow, it's kind of cool. It'll be neat to have during movies and stuff like that. So, anyhow, I hate crown molding. Took forever. Finally got everything else trimmed out this closet. Kind of looks funky here. I didn't know what to do with this angle. And I have to figure. I think I'm gonna do some sort of like giant slide outs. something like that. I don't know. We'll figure it all out. And of course, I haven't got my French door yet. So we are inching closer, but now I got about 3 hours of filling nails and caulking. So see you in a little bit. That's right. We're done. So this will be the second to last project inside the house for a while. I'm gonna get back to the garage. Pretty happy with how everything turned out. So, you know, it's been just over a month, but one or two videos ago, I had just ripped out all the insulation. Started framing this out. So, finished product. I probably skipped several stages in here, but man, I was just trying to get it done. And really happy how it turned out. I know I wasn't sure what I was going to do here under the stairs, but ended up doing a half lap joints with 1/4 inch plywood backing, and then I just used soft closed hinges on the inside. So I'll probably do shelves or something like that, but it was way cheaper than the slab, and it's kind of cool. It's got soft close, so don't have to worry about the kids slamming it and stuff. But we're waiting on a couch. Just put this all together so it's not dangling wires and everything. But man, TV turned out nice. The LED lights up behind the crown molding look pretty cool when the music's on. And yeah, man, it's sort of like poor man's tray ceilings, but it's just all bulkhead. So actually turned out pretty nice. Lines look good. Happy with how it is in general. So the last little project that I have to do in here, which is going to be a pretty cool one, is I'm going to make a trap door, making a hidden door. So stairwell going up to the kitchen. We don't have a pantry, so I'm gonna put a little pantry here. So when you walk in that door, which I still got to finish that trim actually, there's gonna be a hidden door here. So anyhow, yeah, you like this? Home Depot sent me some busted ass railing. It was all bent to shit, and I got it bent back pretty good just for now. Of course, there's nobody in like 60 miles with me that has any in black in stock. So in order to get past my inspection, I use white, and that's coming out soon enough. But anyhow, actually, I'm gonna cut this. This is gonna tie back in. I'm gonna go into details on what this looks like in a different video. Final inspection was today. It went, so I'll put a trap door up there, hidden pantry, hidden access to the basement. It's gonna be pretty sweet. So the one in the books, do the trap door, and then we're gonna finish the garage. Pretty freaking cool, right? I don't know, I think it's neat.